Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I'm proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. So I found this family photograph of Michael. It's Michael, his mother Diana, and his three children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket. Who do you think's got more Jackson DNA in him? Prince Michael Jackson or Bubbles? Okay, so this video right here, it's actually kind of, I was making it for, there's one person that comes around my page named James L. So this person is actually like really getting into my story, like really starting to really get an understanding, you know, doing their own work and stuff too. So I'm just saying that I appreciate that. But there's one major thing I think I asked this person before. I think they're in their young 20s. I think it's a man in their young 20s. But see, like stuff like that, I really don't even really know much about this person. I don't care. It's just in which way they speak is all I'm really interested in. So they're talking about my story. But one of the main things is when, okay, my story involves a conspiracy. It's like, okay, but I didn't create a conspiracy. My story, I don't like label it. It's like it is conspiracy, but it's more like, to me, it's just real life. And within real life, people are just trying to figure things out and trying to make things happen. And because of that, they made things happen that turned into this form of this big conspiracy. And technically it's like a fraud and there's all kinds of stuff. But like I said, the conspiracy mind of how people put together stories and how they search for things like that is that what happened, what I saw in my lifetime was that they made the movies that I remember was, so it was National Treasure, because that was all about the Freemasons, and it's all about, they left the clues, okay? All the clues that are left behind and all of that stuff about what that movie did, okay? So there was that, the National Treasure, and they did a second part, so it was both of those ones. And then it was the Da Vinci Code. And then they did the second Da Vinci Code too. And what the Da Vinci Code, though, is all about the Illuminati. Same thing about where they're leaving behind all of the clues and all of this trails and stuff. But it's formed around the Illuminati. And one of the things about that was when the Da Vinci Code came out, I remember that the Catholic Church, like, did a thing where they kind of denounced it, or they were saying they didn't like it or whatever. But then I watched the Da Vinci Code, and it's like, well, this is all about the Catholic Church. It's all about the Virgin Mary. A lot of it is, you know, it's definitely about Christianity. So the story is based around Christianity and all wrapped up in there. It's like, how could the Catholic Church really be against that story when it's really talking about them in beneficial ways, that they've got all this information, that they're parts of all this stuff. So it's tricky, you know, and I'm sure there's violent things and stuff, whatever. But like I said, it's tricky about, do they actually don't like the Da Vinci Code? But when it all talks about that stuff, but what it did was, that was the start of the Illuminati stuff. So you have the Illuminati stuff, you have the Freemason stuff, and then through the combination of those, people formed thoughts about how the things that are out there, and if you want to go looking for things, it was like a treasure hunt, the way in which you would begin a treasure hunt to look. That's what these movies did. They put the forms and like what I'm saying is, before those movies came out, that people didn't think about things like, it wasn't all Illuminati and Freemason, not on that level. It's just like, those are things that take place in history and whatever, but it's not like what it is now. Now it's actually forming the thoughts of the people that are, and I see it clearly when they speak and stuff. And then the next thing that has happened, we've moved into the next thing, is that television show Ancient Aliens has come out. So, like I'm saying, I've seen these things evolve now, and because I've seen these things evolve, I'm old enough to have seen these things evolve, I can see the influence over the mass population of how their mind is affected by it, and you can tell in their speech patterns. And these are things that, like, people that are experts in the FBI and things that are really experts, they understand that through the generationals, there's speech patterns that happen because of things occurring and stuff. And so one of these things that occurred that I can tell you is It was the National Treasure movie. It was the Da Vinci Code. That started all of the Freemason Illuminati stuff and all of the code stuff. It's all in codes and all, just so much of it. And then we moved into the Ancient Aliens, which now, through the Ancient Aliens, now you've got the alien connection, and they talk about the lizard people. There's all kinds of different stuff once you bring in that Ancient Aliens connection stuff. So now we're in this world now. And I see the people speaking upon, and see, like I'm doing a story that has involving a form of a conspiracy theory. So I have these people speak to me in which ways in which they're experience their environment, and they speak. So there's just things like that. So because of all of that stuff, the one thing I wanted to show to James L, I want to show you one thing about how I find my stuff and the way of which I look and how information works for me. And so this one, okay, see this thing I was telling you, I was mentioning that I was looking for the complete package of this photo shoot. Okay, I was wondering, and I thought that this photo shoot had taken place in Japan. I thought it was at the very first show of the Bad Tour. This is how, see, this is what I'm talking about, the Michael Jackson stuff, the story. There's so much involved in it, and the pieces, they get mixed. It's hard to pin down the real stuff because there's so much information, and it's hard. And when you think you could get that information, it's not as easy as you think to get the actual stuff you're looking for. So like I said, I was always under the assumption that this photo shoot had taken place in Japan. And one of the things of why I talk about this photo shoot, what confused me was everybody's there. There's all these famous people, and even all the monkeys and Diana and Smokey. I mean, everybody's there. And I was like, wow, everybody went over to Japan. I was like, wow, I was surprised that everybody went over there. And so that's one of the things I've been wanting to find out about this photo shoot. And so Debbie Gibson, she's there. She was there. And so this is one of the things I want to say about my story is that, okay, so I know who Debbie Gibson is, and I know that she was at the photo shoot. And then so since I know who she was, I understand that if Debbie Gibson is talking about Michael Jackson, she was big for a short, she's like a pop star. You know, there was, her and Tiffany came out at the same time. They were cool and they were big at a time, you know, and they promote them and stuff. But then it only lasted for a time, and then it moves on till they start, you know, they get the new flavor of the month type of thing. So they were, you know, they never went on to having big much careers outside of what they did from that scene, from what I remember with Debbie Gibson and Tiffany. So Debbie Gibson and Tiffany were both at that photo shoot that I'm talking about. So I saw this, and this is a newer thing, and it was talking about Michael Jackson. So in my head, see, this is what I'm trying to say is that all of the Illuminati and all of that stuff, okay, I'm not thinking that way in my head, like the Illuminati conspiracy stuff. When I'm doing research and stuff, I'm not thinking, okay, there's a conspiracy, so I'm just not thinking that way and stuff. I'm just looking for information. And one of the reasons how I find information is because I'm older, and because I know stuff like this is how I'm able to search for certain things that younger people just aren't able to search for this and find it because they haven't been around long enough to understand why it would be there. Like what information is here that they need to go find. But I was able to when I was, I don't know if I looked for Debbie Gibbs. Maybe I looked for her. I don't know how I came to this exactly. It's like one of those things, how do you exactly come to this? But somehow I came to it. So, but the thing of what it is when I knew that she was going to talk about Michael Jackson on this interview, and I know she's going to be talking about Michael Jackson. I know that she wasn't a gigantic star or wouldn't have been with him all the time. So if she's going to talk about him, I thought, oh, she might be talking about that photo shoot, the photo, because I know she was there. So I'm thinking maybe she'll talk about that photo shoot, and then maybe I can get some more information on it, okay? So that's what leads me to here, to watch this, because I'm trying to find out about that photo shoot. That is what I'm trying to find, and then I found out what I needed to find out through this. Now watch this.
Probably my favorite memory was meeting Michael Jackson.
Oh my God.
That was like...
That's the photo shoot.
Yeah.
You're like superstar hero of all time.
Yeah, I mean, like the biggest pop icon of all time. And I remember meeting him backstage at this concert in Los Angeles, and he said to me in his lovely, sweet voice, I just watched your special on the Disney Channel, and I loved it. And I was like... Michael Jackson was sitting home in his house watching me.
Yeah, I was just what I wanted. She said, she was at the backstage in Los Angeles for that photo shoot, and then it's like, oh, the photo shoot took place in Los Angeles. That's what I needed to know, like right there, one of the pieces of information. And that's why everybody's there, because it was in Los Angeles. I was always under the assumption that photo shoot had taken place in Japan. I was under the assumption that it was the very first, and that's why I thought everybody was there, because that was in my head, why it was my explanation of giving why everybody was there was because it was the first show of the Bad Tour. He was just kicking it off, the very first one in Japan, and everybody showed up. That's what in my head why I was explaining why all these famous people were there. But what it turned out to be, it was in Los Angeles. So it's in LA, and that's why everybody's there. And so these, let me so there's, just show you real quick. So there's the Diana. So see how close they are together, Michael and Diana? And then she did with the pictures with the monkeys and everything too. And let me see if I can roll down here. But see, there's other people like Sylvester Stallone. That's what I was saying. Like, there was all kinds of people there. That's why I was weird that it was taking place. I thought it was in Japan the whole time. That's why I was like, okay, it took place in LA, which gives me a place to where to search for. Now gives me more something else to look for and stuff. So I'm kind of just scrolling down. I want to show you the picture of Michael and the family, like all of them together. Here's like there's that Tiffany that I was saying. So she was the other one, Tiffany and Debbie Gibson, and people like Rob Lowe. As I say, there was so many people there. That's why when I see this photo shoot, I always want to see the complete thing, because it's like, man, there's so many people there. And now that I know it's in LA, it's like okay, it's in LA. So here's one with Joe and Catherine and Michael, and so. So these guys, so this would be, and Michael's supposed to love Catherine as much, but the way he puts it, see, it's more like, to me, it's like, they're like business partners. When you see him together, there's Joseph. He's got to, it's like that's not his son. That's his business partner. I mean, it's more like, that's what it is to me. That just, it's not the same. It more shows the love of what I say, that, they raised him and they've separated and they're business partners and everything. And Michael has respect for Catherine. He considers her like a mother, but that Joseph is Joseph. You can see how they're standoffish, because they know the reality. You're not my real father, and you did all the stuff you did do to me, but here we are business partners. We're in business together. Here we are taking photos because that's what they do, That's part of the business. This is what they do. But yeah, there's really good photos there. There's more here that I see and stuff. But see, everybody was there. So there's Catherine and Janet. And see, more same thing, like business partners. He's got it's not like the Diana. The Diana one's totally different. That's the one that's the mega difference out of all this stuff. And then so that's enough with that right there. Now what I want to show you is this one thing that's weird. That, okay, so I've been looking at a lot of, I try to look at Michael's drawings and stuff and his pictures and all the things like that. There's some really interesting things there. And so you'll see Michael do a lot of like the facial, like, I think people that are into art, that do drawings, they do a lot of like eyeballs and noses and chins. They do a lot of that stuff just as drawing and stuff like that. And so I say Michael and Diana's eyes are really similar, but that totally looks like Michael's eye. But the other thing is this history video. This history video is just like the imagery of what's going on in this stuff. This is the one video that, like when you talk about all the Illuminati or any type of stuff like the Freemasonry, any of that stuff, this video is like, what is going on? Like, I can't believe Michael did this. The imagery of this video of like the idol worship and the imagery that's totally like Nazi imagery, the goose stepping boots, it's like oh God, it's really, really, really wild. And then Michael's like the leader of the whole thing. But he's got these eyes, that, you know, the eyes thing. And like I said, there's a thing that I know with Michael's eyes and the pictures and all this stuff. So this is kind of one of the things I want to show you with, like, things that are there, that, you know, like hidden messages, and there are stuff. And then, see, in artwork, though, it's just common that people always hid stuff in their artwork. That's like common as common can be. There's always other stuff. And it's art, and so I'm not looking at saying it's Illuminati, or that's the satanic message, or it's you know, it's hard to say exactly what you're dealing with when you get in hidden imageries and stuff like that. And so, you know, things are weird, you know. And like, now that I'm saying that too, it's funny because I'm looking at it, and now that I'm looking at look at the eyeball, the black part of the eye. And then you'll see the white specks in there. Now that I'm looking at it from a distance, instead of looking at it as an eyeball, it almost looks like a weird kind of, it's a happy face, but it's like almost a mean happy face in a weird. It's got eyes, and the mouth part's kind of like jagged, kind of the iris part of the eye. It looks like a face now. Like I said, there's always hidden imagery. So now I'm seeing that part in there, that's like a face looking like a weird happy face thing to me. But that's not even what I was going to show you. This is what I wanted to show you. I'm hoping that, let me see if I can zoom in there and you can see it. Oh God, did you see it pop out? Holy shit. See it when I got there? So right above the eye to the right, there's like a little demon face. And then above the eye, the black part of it, it almost looks like hair. The like hair of the demon. See how there you can see it like really good. But you can see, I mean, there's no doubt that it's there. Okay, it's not an accident. In art, people know that, like, when you see two eyes and a nose and a mouth, like, by nature, when you see stuff in nature, that humans associate that with facial imageries. Michael's an artist, he would know stuff like that. So it's one of these things about, like, this picture, okay, was like, this looks like something Michael actually drew. You know, that's the one thing about this picture that's kind of like, okay, this actually looks like one of Michael's drawings. But then it's like, okay, well, there's shit in here, and it's weird too. Look at that face. Oh, it's crazy shit, right? So it's like, okay, and then so there's like the eyeball, and now when I'm looking at the eyeball, it's not a happy face. It's like a ugly happy face. It's like a sad. It's weird. It's a happy face, but it's got a sadness, mean, weird thing to it in the black part of the pupil part down there, and then behind the eyeball is this demon that's behind the eyeball, and it's got the black hair running down, and you know, so it's like, okay, so what's that mean exactly? And you know, that's what I'm saying about this stuff. And but this video is just like, oh my God, this one. And then, like I said, I saw this and I found this thing in there, and it's just like, the history video is weird, and it's like, it's crazy stuff. But it is one of those things about Michael. It's like to me, this is just like, it's real life, and this is an artist. And when you're seeing this stuff, it's like, well, because he's an artist. And people like think he just dances around. That's like, these people out there, they'll say all this crazy stuff. And I've heard, like, you know, I was talking with these, the black people, like, you know, I was trying to talk with them. And what I found out is that all these people that have a lot of talent, the black culture dismisses their talent and says, oh, they're hooked up with the devil, or they're hooked up with the Illuminati. It's secret. And what they are doing is they're dismissive of their talent because they don't have the talent. But I clearly understand the art world and understand a lot about it. And I don't see like all this stuff. There's parts of it. When you're dealing with the art world, you're dealing with the battles of good and evil, you know, life and death. That's what art is. It's about, here I am, I'm alive, you know. Why am I alive? Why am I capable of doing these other evil things? Why do I see these evil things occurring? You know, how come it's not just me, because I'm being affected by all of these other things, by the media, and then by family, and then by the public itself. There's all these other things, how they're affecting you. And that's what I'm saying. There's just all of this stuff. And so that's the way I see it, is more of the art world. And then within experience of trying to figure out who are you, why are we here, and all of that stuff. And then you get the expressions, you get the raw expressions of trying to, it's, you know, like the all-seeing eye, this image here, this one is a trip, that this is the eye that he put, that this is over the whole arena, this photo of the eye. you know? And then when you zoom in on it, it's like, what's going on in here and shit? It's crazy shit. That face, it's like the lost child, Michael. It's like the lost child, the lost hidden child. See how you can make it look really demonic, but like I said, as an artist, I'm looking as like a soul. And to me, it looks more like a lost soul, like the lost child, like Michael. That's the Michael that's hidden behind the public image, and then behind that is like this lost child that's how he feels. That's how he really see. I can talk about art and stuff, and I can try to express of what I see in it, but this is just me right now expressing to you, you know? I haven't went into it any further. It's just me saying right now, this is what I'm seeing. And this is why people like art, because this is when you see people, and when you see people staring at art and paintings and museums, they see in shit, and they're looking at it, and they're trying to figure out, and they're understanding of what is this, and that's what art is. There's some real, it makes you feel emotions, it makes you feel alive, question reality. That's what art is. So that's what I'm saying within this is it's art. And so the younger culture now is looking at this, and they're seeing, it's Illuminati, and it's the Masons, and it's the aliens, and all that stuff. And it's like, there's little bits of stuff like that, but more of what it is, it's a human being who's been alive and been affected by all of the things, and you're in a process of self-discovery, and as an artist, you go into a higher level of self-discovery is through the soul. You want to understand everything. And that's what I see here, is an artist dealing with the self-discovery of what's going on, the image and reality of what they are in society to what they are in their hidden life, the hidden behind the eye of what you see, there's this other thing. Okay, so that's all for now. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.